In the name of kind Allah, hello dear viewers, hope you all doing well. This is teacher Jamal Nasser Habibi with a complete simplest project of JavaScript named Image Slider. As I always focus on working projects for better learning, this project also can be an efficient idea to learn web development, especially the JavaScript. You may know how valuable the JavaScript program language is in web development. So this project has really a clear and a sharp logic in the backend. The task is to just change the images by the previous buttons. So let's start practicing this project from the zero. So this is the folder that contains 10 images of my choice inside the folder named Image Slider. So I open Visual Studio Code, or you may use another IDEs that you loved in. So for opening my folder that is my images inside, click Open Folder and select where your folder is. In my desktop, Image Slider, then select Folder. Inside this folder, the only thing that I have is the following images, which is 10 images. So you can easily create the files from this project. That is HTML file called the home.html. So this is the HTML file. The next folder, the next file is gonna be the JS file, index.js, and another file for styling our web is the style.css. So these three files help me to create such an image slider that you see previously. So the first thing I wanna add for this project is the simple and the primary codes of HTML. By using the Shift1, you can use this shortcut to bring the primary codes for your HTML document. You can use your own to create this project like this. The first thing, open the HTML tag. It is so easy. After this, we need to create the head tag. Inside the head tag, we need to add the title of this project. The title for this project is Image Slider. And next, we have to open the body. Inside this body, we will type all the necessary codes for bringing such an image slider. So let's add the CSS file and the JS file. Links right here. At the end of this, I do want to add the script of my JS. The name is index.js. So for adding the style, also I use the link for CSS style.css. So that's great. And let's start coding from the HTML. So the first thing, I do want to add a div called main container. So inside this main container, the first thing I should add an h1 for the picture ID. Picture ID. So after this, let's add an ID for this. ID is gonna be picture ID. So after this, inside my div, I do want to add the button for the previous. And the next thing, an image. This image has its src or the source. The name is the first picture or the first image. I previously named all these images using the numeric from 1 to 10. After this, let's add the button, or I use the copy paste. So only change the text inside this. It is gonna be the next button. So let's add an ID for this. The ID for this is going to be previous, and this picture ID is gonna be the next. You may, you know why we use ID and classes in HTML. So for manipulating these elements from using JavaScript, we need to add IDs and classes for these elements. So after we complete creating these things, our HTML is already done. Let's open the file and how it looks. So this is our HTML file. So that's it. Our add and previous button and image, and at the end, the next button. So we need to design this to look beautiful and easy to understand for the users. So inside the style or the CSS codes, the first thing I wish to design is the main container. So it has the class called main container. The main container should has a display of flex. Change the display of the content inside this div. So, and the direction of the elements inside this div is gonna be as a row. So it is done. The next thing, I do wanna add the size for my images. I use img as an ID of my image tag. Then I should have a height for this. 95 VH is enough. So the next thing that I want to add for this is the button. So inside the button, I did not use any other classes or ID for manipulating that, because we have only 2 buttons inside our HTML document. We use directly the element name. So it has the weight of 95 VH2 and a width of 20%. Background color should be teal. And the text color should be white, and the font size for the text that is written inside the buttons is gonna be 40 pixels, and the border, the buttons should not have any borders, so none, and the margin from the top it should be 0, from the left 5 pixels, and from the below also 0 pixels, and from the left it should have 5 pixels of margin. So this is also done, and let's have a hover on my buttons. When the user hover over my buttons, the only thing that happened, the background color should be changed to below. And for adding any transition for this, transition is gonna be 5 seconds. In and out is a good transition. So also let's have a border radius for the button and the images. The border radius for these 2 elements is gonna be 100 pixels. So this is also done, and let's the only thing that we style button, we style image. The only thing is remaining is the picture ID. It should be at the center top of our web page. So we access it via the ID it has the picture ID. So the position is gonna be absolute, and it has the distance space 45%. So it is done. Let's refresh our web page that what we have created. So there are some errors. Let's see what is not working well here. So it is the main container img. Let's see that did we have any, we forget to add the ID for this image. ID is gonna be img. So I don't want to refresh this up. So everything is working well. We only forget to add a color for this picture ID. It is also easy. We have picture ID with a color of with a white color. Let it be as the sun label. So that is it. Everything is working well. The only thing that we have to add for this is the JavaScript scripts. So it is really important to know the concepts of every single code that I am going to write in my JS file. So let's, for the first time, clear how does it work. When the user press on the previous button, the only thing is gonna be changed in my HTML element is the name of the picture. It has the name 1. After the user click on the previous button, the JavaScript grab all the HTML elements and only change the attribute of this image from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. By 1, it increment, or it can be decrement by the next buttons. So let's start the codes that we are going to use in the JavaScript file. So inside this JavaScript file, I don't want to start the code. But first of all, I should grab all the necessary elements from HTML using const or using a var, everything you are relaxed with. So I don't want to have to grab the next button. Next, this variable name is going to be the next. It should be equal to the document.getElement by its ID, and the ID was next. So I don't wanna use copy and paste. So this should be the previous button. This is the variable name, and this is the element name. So the next thing that I should grab is the img. The ID for that was also img. And the last thing was picture ID with the same name. I should grab this. So I only grab 4 basic elements from HTML. So when the user click on the next button, the JavaScript should change the attribute of the img tag. So it is easy. Let's create a variable. It's gonna be the ID. It should be equal to 1. And let's assign this variable to the picture ID. This picture ID in my HTML, and the inner text for this is gonna be ID. So now when this is 1, the picture ID that was in my project, it also changed its values to 1. So when the user click on this next button, so only this value changes with the background or this image. So let's create a function for this. Next, add event listener. Event listener is really something clear, a function to add an event in my project. So what is gonna be the event? The event is gonna be the click. So which function you wish to call? I wish to create this function. So function is already made. What it should be done, so only change the ID or increment it by 1 when we use this code. This code is equal to this code. ID is equal to ID plus 1. It means if the ID is 1, it becomes 2. Or it is when it is 10, it becomes 11. These both codes are the same. This is the shorthand form. You can use the first as an increment of any variable you declare. So, and next, I don't want to change the image attribute. Set attribute. Which attribute I'm gonna change? I'm gonna changing the src. So, what gonna be the name and what gonna be the src of this image? I directly plus this with the ID and plus also this with the g.jpg, which is my pictures extensions. So let's remove this. So when the user click on the next button, the value, which is this, is gonna be incremented by 1 right here, and this value is gonna be the name of our image. This is our image name 1. It directly changed to 2. And let's save this app, save the files, and see what happens inside this. So let's work that the ID also increment by 1. The values we call the variable that has the picture ID inside it, and the inner text of this is gonna be the ID. So now I refresh to that and see that the picture and the number is continuously changing. So here is an error. We have only 10 images. When the user reach to the last image, which is 10, it should be directly equal to 1. So we did not practice it still. So it is also easy. Right here, we type that if the ID is equal to 10. So what should be happen? The ID should be equal to the 0. Now the user also can click to see the last image, and without any other time, the user should see the first image like this. So this is the really easiest concept that you can use for practicing your project. So let's work on the previous button. So it shouldn't believe that all the codes that were written in next event was really the same as the previous. We only changed the previous, the button name, and so it should not increment anything, it should be decremented. When the user decrements something, the one value is decremented from the variable. When the value is 9, it becomes 8, and it is when it is 4, it becomes the 3. So one difference was this. The second, that when the user arrives to the first image, what happens? The variable should be 10. But there is an error with the variable changed to the 10. It changed to the 9 after the user clicks on the previous button. When the number was 1, it changed to 10. And As soon as it changed to the 9, because without any break, it can usually change itself to the 9. We use the 11 value right here, that when the value becomes 11, here it changes to the 10. So we save this app and show how this project, okay, we refresh the app. So this is the next button, it is working well, and this is the previous button. So the previous button is not working. Let's see, there is the error. Previous, it should be the same spell we written before. So let's see that in our HTML, the ID is also like this, previous. So it is now works. So when the user click on the next button, see this, and it's the previous button, you can see it is completely working normal. So great, now you have learned more from JavaScript. What we did was the changing of the image attribute of image tag with the JS easily. So practice this project with yourself and improve your JavaScript skills. So thanks for watching and your supports.